Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to our second installment of our series about UnifiMD IQ insights and quick wins. Amanda and I are back today. Sorry, you're stuck with us again. Our second video that we're covering today, the topic is called e-prescribing features you should be using. So we're going to go over some areas of e-prescribing that you may not be aware of that will either speed up your process, such as favorites, help with some patient safety things, such as their compliance of meds, and some other areas you may not be aware of there that could just help with your office workflow, enhance speed at which you get through your day. So with that, Amanda.
So if you're using our e-prescribing system, you know it's Doctor First, and we access that here on the left-hand side under the Doctor First portal. Just kidding, I have to go back to the other account. I thought I set up the provider, but it's all under the office manager, which is fine for this. So the first thing that I want to show is prescription favorites. So as you're prescribing a medication, right, you come in here, you hit create new prescription. We're going to give this patient some
Amoxicillin is always mine.
Always my favorite.
It's the one I always pick.
We're going to do the tablet. We're going to do the 875 milligram tablet. This is also going to be very common now. We're, in October, and everyone's going to start getting those lovely fall colds and need some help here. So we're going to write out our SIG for the patient, how often they're taking this medication. I'm going to grab a pharmacy. And now we're going to review our prescription. Patient has an allergy, so we got to acknowledge those alerts real quick. But once we're here at this prescription, if this is something that you are going to write often, why go through the process of filling out that SIG every single time? When you're on this screen, there's a star that says add to favorites. And if you click on it, you're going to get a pop-up. You get it one time, and you have to hit save. So now this is added as a favorite here to our list. So next time our patient comes back in, or a different patient comes in, and I need to also prescribe them amoxicillin 875 milligram tablets, I don't have to go through that whole process again. On this main screen, I'm going to click on this star, same star that we saw when we were saving it, and click the drop down arrow. And this is going to show me my favorites. So if I scroll down a little bit here, it does do them alphabetically. And if I scroll down, here's my 875 milligram tablet. You'll see I have a few for amoxicillin 500, and there's the different SIGs are all listed. So you just click on the SIG that you want to prescribe. So if I want to prescribe this 875, one tablet for 7 days, I'm going to click on it, acknowledge my alerts. And now instead of going through that whole entire process, it is down here, it is queued up, and it is ready for me to send to the pharmacy. 1 click, 2 clicks, 2 clicks.
Huge time saver.
Huge time saver. The other great thing about this is if you want to use just that, just amoxicillin 500 milligram, and you don't want to fill out the same, you can also just click on that, and it'll bring you to at least just that prescription without having to do the search of the medication. In here, you'll also see that there's some recent, so things that are had just been prescribed will be here. So, during cold and flu season, you might have some more common things here than you would have for the summer. This is going to be constantly changing. The favorites in the middle are your favorites, your personal favorites, and then there is a way to manage and organize organization favorites as well. But most people, a lot of the doctors like to have their own individual favorites.
Perfect. I like it. I hope everybody else likes it. All right, and then the the couple of other areas of Dr. First that we wanted to show people that may not realize they're there and available.
Yes. So medication history. So when you have a new patient that's coming in, or a patient who sees a lot of other outside providers, sometimes they come in and they don't always know exactly what medication they're taking or the proper dose that they're taking. And obviously that's important for you to know as one of their providers, so that way when you're prescribing medications, you're not prescribing something that may counteract with what they're taking. So there is a feature inside of Dr. First in this medications area called Show Medication History. And when you click on this, it's going to query out to the pharmacy benefits manager for that patient's insurance. And it's going to pull back the information from other sources, that meaning other providers outside of your organization who have prescribed for this patient. You can go as far back as 1 year and as little as 1 month, or you can select a specific time period. Most offices will prefer to have this defaulted to a year and just see all of that information up on the screen. So since I can't show this live, I'm going to go back to a document that I have here. Let me grab that screen. So it's going to look like this. So this is a medication fill history. When I went back a year, these are the prescriptions that came up for this patient. You can click the plus sign and see a little bit more detailed information on those scripts, like who the provider was and their contact information if you need it. But if you're just looking to add this as a medication to their med list, you can click the checkbox here next to the medication, and then you're going to click on the Add to Active Medications button, and it will add it to their list, their med list for you. It's a really great feature for specifically for older patients who come in and they're not sure. I went to see my cardiologist and they prescribed me something new. Do you know what it is? I don't. This will show you that information. The next thing that I want to show that I can't really facilitate in Dr. First right now is the patient scorecard. So up at the very top of the screen, there's a bar called Patient Advisor, and the first thing in there is Patient Scorecard. This is really a great tool for medication adherence. So you're treating a patient who has really high cholesterol. You've prescribed them a medication. They're coming back in for their 3-month checkup. Their labs are showing that their cholesterol is still really high. Are they taking their medication? We're all patients. We know that we're not always fully truthful with our providers. So they're going to tell you, yes, of course I take my medication every single day. This adherence scorecard shows us the time between a patient getting their prescriptions filled. So you'll notice here, like on this first line, there's a lot of blue and there's a lot and red. This red is showing a gap in the fact that the patient was taking their simvastatin. So a refill event occurred here in early August, but the patient never filled the prescription till the beginning of September. So for this whole time, they didn't have that medication to be taking it. So they're not adhering to the protocols that you set for them. It'll tell you over on the left-hand side the adherence rate. There'll be a red dot if it's bad and a green dot if they're doing good. And there is a legend up in the right-hand corner of the screen that you can click on with the question mark, and that's this here. All this box shows the prescription start, the fill dates, when an expected refill one was happening, if a prescription was stopped, interval for when they're taking it, and then a gap for missing a prescription.
So red is bad. Red is bad is the summary. Got it.
Red is bad is the summary, yes. This one goes back out 2 years. You can change that in this upper right-hand corner of the screen. 2 months to 2 years is what you can see for data. When I show providers this, they love it. It's a great feature for really being able to figure out what's going on with the patient. If they're truthfully taking the medication, like this one, and everything shows blue, but their cholesterol's still high, then there's, obviously something else going on, and you will know how to treat that.
And then I
Another
think we
thing,
wanted to touch on the EPA button next.
yes, yep, perfect. So also in Patient Advisor, there is this prior authorization section. So prior authorizations are going to cut down on patients getting denied when they go to the pharmacy, that they can't pick up their script and all of that paperwork that goes between that. Before it hits this up here in this prior authorization section under the Patient Advisor bar, when you're prescribing a medication, you'll see that this medication that in the example that Dr. First gave us in their documentation is not covered by the insurance. And when I click on the coverage limit, it tells us that this brand requires a prior authorization for dispensing. So we know that from the time of looking up the prescription. When we get to the part of the prescription where we're reviewing it to send it off to the pharmacy, you'll see this section here that says Start PA. So you can trigger the prior authorization to be started before it even gets to the insurance. By doing that, it is going to put it up here into this prior authorization section in the Patient Advisor bar. As a provider, you wouldn't necessarily need to be the one to complete this. I know a lot of offices whose their workflow is to have their staff do it. So the staff would know to check this section here. And this number 1 is telling us that there's a PA needed. There's 1 needed. This will count up if there are multiples, and they'll all be listed in this section here. Once the prior authorization comes in, they're going to come in here and they're going to hit the complete button, and it's going to prompt them to answer the questions that are required for that prior auth, and then it sends it right off to the pharmacy and the insurance to get handled. So you're eliminating that back and forth that the patient may have once they hit the pharmacy to pick up the prescription saying, oh, we needed a prior authorization. We sent that back to the provider, and then, maybe that's later in the day. Now the patient's waiting till tomorrow to pick up a script. So it's cutting out a lot of that in between by generating it from the time of prescribing. If that prior authorization didn't show up for some reason and the pharmacy did trigger a prior authorization, they also will appear here in this section. There's a little bit more details that you can do in here with the PA submitted to plan and decision received. We also have that all in a documentation that we'll have a link for you to find on our website, which is this one here. And it goes through a little bit more detail of what all of those functions are.
And then I think the last thing we wanted to mention was PDMP monitoring.
Yes. So PDMP stands for Prescription Drug Monitoring Program. I know that if you're a Massachusetts client, you're using a site called MassPat to get in there. I'm sure I don't know all the acronyms for the other states, but this is where the office goes to check to see whether or not a patient received a prescription for this controlled substance or something similar to it outside of your office. The really great feature with the View PDMP is that you're not having to go into another website, enter all of the patient's data, first name, last name, date of birth, any of that information. You're going to click this button that says View PDMP, and it's going to take you and find that information for you and show you everything that you need to know for being able to prescribe this prescription. This one specifically is showing that this person received prescriptions from 20 providers within a 90-day period. So you'll be able to monitor that accordingly.
So this is the only thing we showed you today that does come with at an additional cost. All the other parts of Dr. First are included. PDMP comes at an additional cost because each provider has to be set up with your state's registry. So Dr. First does charge for that. It's a huge time saver, like Amanda was saying, to be able to see it in your regular workflow and not have to leave the screen. You just click it, it opens this box, and then you'll see at the top right now the hide, and then you go back to where you were. So it's a huge time saver. The people who have it will tell you it is worth the cost. It does vary from state to state, so I'm not even going to try and tell you here. But if it's something you're interested in, please reach out to me. Probably is the easiest by phone or email, and we can I can get a quote for your provider for your state. I was going to say provider count, but you actually pay for it by practice. So I give you a quote for your office, and then, you have 5 providers and you get a 6th, you don't pay more. It just turns on for that 6th provider, which is nice. So if you're interested in pricing on that, please reach out. Anything else, Amanda? I think that was it.
I think that hits our list
to
for
show
today.
All right. So then in closing, I guess, I want to thank you for your time. I am sorry that we took a little longer than we planned to, but we want to show you all the stuff. So in the email that you will get with this video link, so if you found this video through an email I sent to you, you will also find a link to where the documentation is that we've been referring to. So there will be a place that we store all that documentation. It is called CHS One Stop. It is a newer website that we have. If you've been trained in the past 6-9 months, you have a login to that site. If you've been using Unify for longer than that, you may not have a login. So you just reach out to CHS support, whether by phone or by email, and say, I need a login to One Stop, and then you'll be able to get into this website that stores all of this information. There's lots of training information in here, and things that aren't even training, like I lost my cell phone and I need a new token, and how do I activate things? So common calls are also stored in here. So we want everyone to have a login to this. So if you do not, reach out to support and we will get one set up for you. It's simple. Everyone in your office can have one if they want to. And please also watch for a follow-up email from me with a survey on how you felt this video went and things that you would like to see done in future videos. We do have our next session already set up and teed up. It will be about multimedia, about scanning documents into Unify and faster ways to do it, use those, categorize them, search for them. So that will be our next topic. But we hope you found these things helpful in speeding up your day a bit. For those of you who may be searching for it right now, just as a reminder, our support number is 1-800-250-8687, and you just want to push 2 for support is your easiest way to reach anybody. And our support email, if you want to reach out, is support@mailchs.com. I hope you guys enjoyed this and found it helpful and that it helps speed up your day-to-day activities in UnifiMD just a bit. And we will talk with you soon.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.